Sky Squad, we are back in the building, baby. And I just want to know if you guys are ready for this Ponderosa, if you are ready for this jamboree, or if you are as frustrated as I am, and what you would rate this episode on a scale of 1 to 10, baby. Listen, we got a lot to discuss today. We got a whole lot to discuss, a lot to discuss. So come on in the room. Let us know where you're watching from in that good chatterization, okay? Let me know where you are watching from, okay? Because your boy is nosy and we want to know, okay? Now, with that being said, all right, we're going to get into the episode, but I have to give you guys a fair warning, a spoiler alert warning. I'm giving it to you now. I am already letting you know in this video, we will be talking about what's actually going on next week when we talk about Garcelle actually finally confronting Erika Jayne, okay? So, spoiler alert, if you do not want to know, okay, go ahead and keep watching anyway, okay? Close your ears when we get to that part because I don't want you to leave, baby. We don't want you to leave. Stay right on here, all right? Now, with that being said, I had to give you guys the spoiler alert at the beginning because, again, like I said, we're going to talk about some things that we need to discuss, but we will talk about them at the appropriate time, okay? Because Garcelle does indeed confront Erika Jayne, and at the same time, she is going to be shutting down Kyle for once. And for, like, somebody needed to do it, okay? Somebody needed to do it. It needed to be done. But again, we're going to talk about it towards the end, okay? Now, so let's get into it, right? I'm gonna on a scale of 1 to 10, I want to know what you guys will rate this episode, and I'm gonna tell you what I would rate it and why. So I'm gonna rate this episode, I'm gonna give it a 9. Let me tell you why I gave it a 9 and not the full 10. I gave it a 9 mostly because we knew so much about what happened in this episode beforehand that it almost made watching the episode. I'm like, I didn't even really need to recap most of the beginning of the part of the episode. I would have gave this episode a 10 again had I not known so much of it beforehand, right? But I'm also taking away a bit of a point because, we were promised a confrontation between Erika Jayne and Garcelle. Garcelle and Cherie even toasted to having to check a beat. Okay. And it was necessary. And I felt like it should have happened in this episode because the social media surrounding the drama around what happened was so strong that they should have resolved that in this episode. Okay. So I took away a point for that because I felt like if I was the producers, I would have re-edited this episode to add in that part right there. But they stretching it out. So they stretched it out and then they released the clip of Garcelle actually confronting her, which we will talk about in a bit. Okay. Because I was like, Garcelle, if you don't say nothing right now, I'm gonna come through this screen, baby. I'm gonna come through this screen. Okay. And we're gonna have a talking to. Okay. Not the same talking to that Kyle gives to Sutton, but y'all know what I'm saying. All right. Now, and when we discuss what happens next week with her confronting Erika, we'll also discuss her confronting Kyle for her shenanigans as well, and Cherie jumping in. Okay. Now, who said they did not get the notification? Are you signed up for the texting community? Because that's how we can get you the notifications faster, baby. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and sign up for the texting community, come on in the room. We appreciate you. Okay, we listen. I've been crawling up out my skin too, baby. So we begin the episode much like we ended last episode with Kyle and Diana and Sutton having their little Ponderosa, where for real, nobody asked Kyle to include herself in this situation, but Kyle brought her drunk self over to step in and yank Sutton around like a rag doll. Now, if you don't believe that She yanked Sutton around like a rag doll rather aggressively. Okay. Let me go ahead and let you see it for yourself, okay?
Yeah.
These are all the times that Kyle done put her hands on the lady. Now I want you to watch how many times she put her hands on Sutton. So we missed the so here.
Yeah.
That was the first one. We missed the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Here,
8,
this is really
9, 10. 10 times she done put her hands on that lady, okay? 10 times she yanked her around like a rag doll, y'all. 10 mother freaking times, okay? How you do that? How do you do that? And you know what? I feel like Kyle, to me, the friendship between Kyle and Sutton is very toxic. And we'll talk a little bit more about it as we get into the apology that Kyle tries to shove down Sutton's throat in just a little bit. Okay. Um, so the last person that Kyle, I remember one time Kyle put her hands on somebody, and that was Brandy Glanville. Glanville took her arms, threw Kyle down the stairs. Okay. So you can't put your hands on everybody, Miss Kyle. You can't do that. And I don't care how drunk she was, because the fact of the matter is, it's only certain people that she would do that with. It's people that she don't respect well enough to know that they're gonna go upside her head. And she found out from Brandy that she couldn't do that. Okay. Like she could jostle Kim around. Okay. And I feel like she looks at Sutton as somebody who's weaker, who she can just toss around again, ragdoll style. You know what I'm saying? And just shake her up when she get ready to. Meanwhile, some kind of way, Diana and Sutton end up, hugging it out, because Sutton is really just trying to show Diana that she's trying to relate to her on a level that, they can both, maybe commiserate on. And Diana is really not receiving it. She feels like Sutton is being fake. And then even when, as Sutton is trying to make up with Diana, Kyle is then calling Sutton fake for wanting to try to hug it out. It's like Sutton can't win for losing with Kyle. I don't know what Kyle would really want her to do in this situation. And furthermore, she shouldn't have even bounced her drunk self over there. And she should have kept doing them splits over on the floor, okay? Clearly. Because every time she gets involved, thank you, Sherry. Kyle is looking for screen time. Every time Kyle gets involved with something, she takes that big plastic spoon she got in her pocketbook and she stirs up the juice, and it's usually to Sutton's detriment. Okay. Meanwhile, once Kyle has had enough of that, she joins the group where Erika and Garcelle and all of them sitting at. Erika is asking Garcelle where her hot son is. Okay. And Doree is like, Garcelle, please get your son out of here before this woman climb up on top of him and ride him like a pony. So the man being Garcelle's son, Oliver, has to tell Erika that he's married. Well, at that point, Erika says, well, let me just hit up your baby mama in her DMs, and then the three of us can kick it together. Okay. 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 The disrespect. But whatever. He trying to bounce and get his way up out of there. And Crystal is asking Garcelle, hey Garcelle, I got a little bit of a change of heart with Crystal right now. I do feel like she should have told us what that dark comment was, but in this moment, I have to say that I appreciate Crystal so much for two reasons. Number one, Crystal ask Garcelle, do you want to get any of these flowers? You know, that's one of those like girl, like that's somebody that's what somebody's family member would do. You know what I'm saying? You want me to take some of these flowers home for you, girl? Then, as she's doing so, Jax, one of Garcelle's son, is like, oh, let me grab these flowers off the table. And Erika is like, get the F out of here, get the F out of here. You know, again, wrong, but I don't really expect much from Erika Jane anyway. So my morality meter is set. The bar is set very low for her anyway. So this to me it is not shocking. It's quite on par for what I think of her anyway. So it doesn't excuse her behavior. It's just that I feel like it was trashy behavior, but what can we expect? Meanwhile, um, Crystal, what I love that she did was she escorted, she escorted this, Jax out of this situation. Like she's like, don't curse at him, and she escorts him away, right? Which I felt like was again, it goes into I think who Crystal is. I think as a mom and also as a friend. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to like let me get the child out of the out of this situation. Dorit claims she was so sickened. She was so sickened by the whole situation. Her heart sank. You know, she felt like it was vile, disgusting, dirty. You know what I'm saying? Until she get around her girlfriends, okay? And then she don't see nothing wrong with it. Thank you, Crystal. Not Crystal, California Cutie, who says this review is hilarious. Don't watch this franchise, but always support your Richie. Hey, Sky Squad, smash that like button. Thank you, California Cutie. I appreciate you. So Garcelle has to come inside because the son then told her what happened, and Garcelle is like, a little. Now, Garcelle again to me was a little too nice in this situation. Okay, she come back up in here. You hurt Jax's feelings. Why do you say that to the youngin? And I'm looking at, girl, I don't care if she is drunk. And I know you trying to maintain your integrity and your classy demeanor so you can continue to get these Hollywood jobs. But okay, this is your son. All right. Now, if you had decided that you had wanted to have that lady escorted out by security, you would have been every right to do so. If you had decided that you wanted to cuss her from here to kingdom come, you would have had every right to do so. Okay. But the fact of the matter is, listen, I get it. You want to, when they go low, we go high. But sometimes, let me tell you something. When they talking about your children, it's time to get gutter. Okay. Just a little bit. And you gotta sometimes meet them where they at. Okay, especially when they're talking about your child. But I digress. Garcelle is at the Real the next day, okay, talking about, the party and whatnot, and she didn't appreciate the way Erika talked to Jax, and she wants her to apologize to him. Crystal takes Dorit to a boxing / self-defense class so that, perhaps Dorit can stop talking about this robbery. Lord, I understand. I can't understand because I haven't been through what she's been through. However, and I mean, unless we're going to continue to see her go through the treatments and things like that, kind of hearing her talk about it, I don't know, man. We 9 episodes in. I just feel like I didn't heard a lot about it, okay, at this point. And so I think that, again, Crystal came through in the clutch. She said, girl, if we're going to keep talking about this, let's be productive. I'm going to take you to this self-defense class so you can learn something, so you can feel like you might be able to do something if should anything ever happen to you again. And again, I appreciate Crystal for just cutting right through the BS. Let's do something about this situation that you keep talking about, and let's so we can all move forward with it. And again, outside of the therapy, I feel like this is a productive way for Dorit to channel that energy and to move into a new space so that she can begin to somehow heal from this situation. Because I just hate to say it, and I know I sound insensitive, and I apologize for that right now. But I'm tired of hearing about it. Okay. Um, because otherwise it's a non-moving story. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else we can do for you in this situation except see you in therapy and see you get through it, or go to the self-defense class, which she seemed to thoroughly enjoy. Okay. And that might be the best therapy for her. Okay, so I wrote in my notes, I just had called her vile, okay, because right now I can't stand the way Kyle is acting. So we're gonna call her vile, okay? And I'm sorry for you, Kyle, but vile, it really suits you right now, okay? So Vile wants to take Sutton to dinner, okay? And Vile also wants to talk about Garcelle's party, okay? Sutton tells her that she came in halfway through the conversation with Diana, and that Vile was quite harsh with her. So Vile then shoves an apology down her throat, okay? And she says, well, just so you know, I didn't think you made it up. Did you think I thought you made it up? You didn't think I thought you made it up? Oh, great, because I didn't think you made it up. Girl, you literally told her she was lying about a miscarriage. Okay, but she's supposed to get over it real fast because you shoved that apology down her throat in order to shut her up from confronting you. Okay. So Sutton then also tells her, because Kyle puts her hands on her again, and Sutton says, don't push me. So that was your warning, Kyle. The next time you do it, should she pull a Brandy Glanville on you, you ain't got nobody but yourself to blame. Okay. So Sutton tries to tell her that she was trying to relate to Diana, and then again, Vile very aggressively apologizes. And to me, this whole conversation feels manipulative, because what she does is this: even as Sutton is trying to explain where she was coming from, Vile isn't trying to hear it because she's already said, I said, I'm sorry. Then she tells Sutton that you're very hard to apologize to. You won't shut up. So she does this, and now she's making herself the victim. So now Sutton is apologizing to her. I'm like, Sutton, girl, you do not realize what's happening here. But Sutton's friendship with Vile means so much to her that she is unwilling to see the manipulation and the toxicity that exists within this friendship. Okay. And so now that makes Sutton a participatory victim. Okay. She is a participatory victim in this toxic situation because she fails to realize what Kyle does to her time and time and time again. Okay. So then she gaslights Sutton by calling her sensitive and a delicate flower. And then she says, well, you know, as Sutton is reaching out to hug her, Vile then says, well, I just don't want you to think I'm trying to punch you right now, thus making light of her previous physical aggression. Okay. JMW says their contracts are up this season. Who do you think going to get cut, Erika or Renna? I don't really know if anybody will be cut, honestly. I think that, to be quite honest with you, the producers know that we get all riled up about these situations, and I know that it means higher ratings. So I don't know that we'll actually get anybody cut from the season. If anybody, I might think that it might be Renna because of her problematic post about people arguing with Garcelle and then people calling them racist when that happens. She's the person that I can see getting the most punitive response from this, mostly because I feel like Erika apologizes in the next episode. And so it just kind of depends on how the rest of the season plays out, to be honest with you. We come back from a commercial break, and Vile is at home with Maurizio, who I now no longer like. Okay. Because he was laughing at this whole idea. And I skipped over the whole scene of PK. Well, I don't know if it's happened yet. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about it now. Basically, we get another scene with Vile and PK, Doree, and Maurizio, and we talked about this before, but I'll just mention it casually here, where they recap the party and they recap how Erika cursed Garcelle's son out, and you know everybody's laughing about it. And Doree basically says, "I mean, I'm gonna give her a hard pass because I mean, well, it wasn't my child." And Mauricio, yeah, I'm glad she did that. You're glad she cursed out a 14-year-old young black man? Okay. Okay, cool. Gotcha. Boom. I understand. I see where you at. We see each other, and I don't want to see you no more. Actually, I don't even want to watch your show that's coming on Netflix, Buying Beverly Hills. You couldn't come up with nothing more original. Don't that sound a lot like Selling Sunset? Okay. So to me, you I don't care too much about you, and I don't care too much about supporting nothing that you do, even though I loves me a real estate show on Netflix. Okay. Now I can't watch because I know how you feels. Okay. I know how you feels. All right. Oh, high self. Okay. In looking high in just about every scene. Like I mean, how old are you, sir? Okay. I oh, that just irritated me to no end. Um, it's Thanksgiving Day. We kind of gloss over this. We see Garcelle and Crystal, handing out food for the Los Angeles mission. Lots of everybody else is, meeting up for family gatherings. We see Kathy Hilton and Kim. This is the first time we seen Kathy Hilton, and it was via an IG story or something like that. And then once again, we see Teddy Mellencamp. And I'm like, why do y'all continue to try to shove this woman down our throats? We have already told you we do not want any of this liver, okay? Y'all ever had liver? Have your parents ever made you eat liver? That's what I equate Teddy Mellencamp on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills to. It's like liver, okay? This don't taste good. You can say it's good for me, but I don't believe you, okay? And I don't want nothing of it, okay? Don't try to feed it to me. Don't try to force it down my throat. I do not want this medicine that you are trying to give me, okay? I think that she does better on a podcast where she can talk and do whatever she needs to do. And I want the woman to be successful, but just don't put her back on the screen. Once you have gotten rid of her, let her run off and disappear into the ether, okay? Let her go to the podcast land and do the podcast, okay? That is where she should remain. That is where she is most successful. Let her do her business all in or whatever it is, and give the people meal plans or whatever she need to do. I don't care. I just don't want to see her on my screen no more. I don't want to see it in a flashback. I don't want to see it in an IG story. I don't want to see it in a lower third. I don't want to see not even her hair swing by the camera at all. Okay, leave her be. Leave her be, and stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. We are never going to like her on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Period. Anyway, Lisa stops by Diana's house for some champagne at her, her $1 million McMansion and things. Lisa is still grieving Miss Lois, and she asks about Garcelle's party. Diana says the party itself was fun, except for, Sutton pulling me into a conversation and questioning me about my bed rest, which I do agree. While I don't like Miss Dirty Diana either, and I just say Dirty Diana for the fun of it. Okay, don't take offense to it, people. But while I don't really care for Diana in any way, shape, or form, I do agree that Sutton should not have come at her and questioned her about, whether or not she should have been on bed rest or not. Because at the end of the day, that's her business. If she want to fall out the bed and come to a party, that's do what you need to do. Okay, I don't care, but the way she tells Lisa this story, she leaves out all of her own insults to Sutton and only includes Sutton's insults to her, okay? She basically says that Sutton was making these faces at her, questioned her about her bed rest, and called her an MFer. But she fails to mention that she called Sutton old and frail. And the funniest thing about calling Sutton old and frail is that Sutton is what, 50, 49, 50, or something like that. I don't know how at least that's what the Google says. But Diana is what, about 49? She 1 year younger than Sutton. And if you really want to call somebody old and frail, I mean, the thing about it is, if I'm Lisa Rinna, I'm offended by that because Lisa Rinna is the oldest out of the bunch. She is what, 57? She looks great to be 57, but ultimately you're mad at Sutton for calling her an MFer, but she called Sutton old and frail, in which you are older than Sutton. Make it make sense to me. But of course, Diana left that out. Okay. Meanwhile, Lisa then calls Sutton a narcissist, and I'm like, pot meet kettle. Okay. Sutton is everybody over to her new house that she's been working on for the past 2 years. On the way there, Cherie meets up with Garcelle, and we learn that Cherie is attending this event, and they toast to having to check a bee, okay? Because Garcelle is planning to confront Erika. Garcelle says she wanted to have the conversation when Erika was sober, okay? Which I can sort of relate to that. I can, but I still would have reacted in the moment. But I can relate to it. I have had friends who have been, quite intoxicated, and I've just refused to speak to them about their behavior that at that moment in time, if they was acting up, because I know that they're not going to remember what I said, and I need you to remember exactly when I told you what you was up to. Sutton's housewarming. It rained outside, so I don't understand why Sutton wants to have this party outside. I saw chairs in your house. You should have had the event at the table in the house. But you so stuck on this idea of having these people walk outside in the middle of this swamp mud that you can. I wouldn't have walked out there. You should have had shoes ready for these people. You knew it was cold outside. Now you got to bust out your furs for everybody when they come there. But hey, she rich. She got it like that. Okay. So Erika arrives, and Erika already knows that that Garcelle is ready for her. Okay. In the ride over, she says, I'm not really worried about being at Sutton's house. I'm worried about dealing with the Haitian mama that I'm gonna have to deal with because I done cussed out her son. Okay, so she know. She immediately greets Garcelle and Cherie and tells Garcelle that she can only have one drink today, and Garcelle agrees. It is very tense and awkward, and I'm just waiting for Garcelle to have this conversation. She's not gonna have it until next week. Spoiler alert, okay? And we'll talk about that in just 1 second. As everybody sits down after they get their flip-flops and things, they get to talking and whatnot, and they talk about how Dorit has been, and she's beating herself up. The woman can't drive. She don't want to be alone. I'm telling you, girl, if you get back into that boxing class, I think it'll help you tremendously. Meanwhile, Garcelle asked Sutton if she knew that Diana was not coming. Sutton says she did not know, and Lisa reveals that she spoke to her. But then Garcelle is like, well, I mean, it's rude not to tell the hostess that you're not coming to the event or whatever, but you tell everybody else. Sutton says, yeah, I don't like passive-aggressive behavior. And Lisa says, oh, pot calling the kettle black? You're passive-aggressive. And I'm thinking to myself, are you calling me passive-aggressive in my own home? You can go too. You can go, you and your Elvis Presley hair, you can get out of my place and actually take my flip-flops off before you walk in the mud. So you can walk barefoot out of here. I don't even care that you're walking barefoot through my house. Get out of here, okay? But Sutton, ever the Southern belle, okay, decides not to do that. But I just be tired of them coming for her for no reason. And I'm like, you're going to come for me at my own event and call me passive aggressive? No, B, I was aggressive when I called her an MFer, okay, to her face. I didn't say it behind her back. I called her every name that I could when I was sitting right there in front of her. That is not passive aggressive. That's aggressive, okay? And I was just as aggressive with her as she was with me, Elvis, okay? Now leave the building. It ends on Lisa asking her, did you call her soulless and an MFer or whatever? Anyway, let me tell y'all what's going on next week, okay? Just in case you don't believe me, because sometimes I gotta, let's pull a thing up, y'all. We'll pull it up. So next week, just to give you guys a little bit of a clue as to what's going on in the next episode, you will see here Garcelle confronts Erika. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys, when Garcelle confronts her, it's after the luncheon outside or whatever, and Erika wholeheartedly, I apologize. I am, there's no excuse for my behavior. I was speaking to the child as though I was speaking to an adult. I was intoxicated, and there's no excuse for it. And then Garcelle goes on to tell her, well, listen, I understand that you have been mixing the medications and the cocktails, and I saw it when we were in Mexico, but it needs to stop, okay? Because you can never speak to my child like that, okay? Or any child for that matter. And so as she's speaking, though, and Erika's like, well, it was a different medication, but I respect what you're saying, yada, yada, yada. So here comes Vile. Here comes the Vile, making faces as Garcelle is speaking to Erika. And Garcelle has to tell her, like, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the stuff that I'm talking about, because she confronted her earlier, okay, in another preview that was the continuation of Lisa and Sutton discussing Diana, and Garcelle confronted her then about jumping ship, basically saying like, yo, you're closer to Sutton. You would think that you would be on Sutton's side. And so then she has to really get into Kyle right here and tell her, like, listen, this is what you do. This is what I mean by jumping ship. I'm having a conversation with her, and it's not even a threatening conversation. We're two grown women having a conversation with each other, and here you are jumping in. And so Kyle then starts to make excuses for her behavior. Well, she's had, it's just been these 2 moments where she's had her, her issues. I think she deserves some grace. And Garcelle is like, but the problem is you keep jumping into a conversation that I'm having with her. I'm talking to her, not you. So then thank the Lord for Miss Cherie, because Miss Cherie has to step in and tell her, listen, girl, okay? What she needs you to do in this moment is to remain neutral. Don't say nothing. Don't involve yourself in it. You know what I'm saying? If you call yourself everybody's friend in this group, stop popping in on piggybacking on everybody else's arguments. Do something on your own, girl. Like, this is me, because Cherie didn't say this. But I'm like, do something on your own, girl, and stop putting your hands on the people. I mean, there's some therapy that's needed here. I mean, and I think it's because I don't think she realizes her own aggressive behavior. She put her hands on Sutton 10 times in the conversation, 10 times, shaking this woman like a rag doll, just shaking her up, just shaking her. She just shaking her all kinds of ways. You didn't have a miscarriage. Okay? So I'm like, yes, learn something from this. Anyway, that's the episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Season 12, episode 9. I'm glad I feel much better, okay? I do feel like I got a lot of things off of my chest, and it had been really weighing on me, y'all. And so thank you for allowing me to vent. And now hopefully next week I won't take this energy into the next episode, but I probably will have to, because I really stress watches these episodes of Beverly Hills, okay? I really stress watch them. Now with that being said, y'all know I love y'all, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video.